I think we did it.
Yes, the meeting is now streaming live on Facebook.
There we go. Is the
Doctor,
doctor in? Is the
the
doctor
doctor is
in?
The
finally
doctor.
in. The doctor is in. We had a little technical difficulties today, people.
I don't know. The doctor might be out too, though. She might be out. I'm just saying.
She can't go out yet. We got to make a show happen. So the doctor is
Listen,
in, and we are ready to rock. We're running a little bit late, but we are here. We are
it's
here.
it's all good. We're cutting up today. This is the 365 Pride remix. Pick it, pick it, pick it. Turn the turntables, rewind it, remix it, put your thing down, flip it, and reverse it. Because because we are talking about all things Black and beautiful and
Yeah.
proud and queer and lesbian and health and wellness and all the things that are near and dear to us, not just this month but the whole year through. But it's a really opportune time for us to have these conversations, so we could not be more thrilled to have the folks who are joining us
Right?
today. I mean, look at that smile right there. Look at, yeah, and that one too. Hey there now.
We got some smiles.
Yep. Don't wipe it off now. I see it coming in, and we're just so thankful. Ricky, why don't you give us a little bit of background on this episode and how did you stumble on over into Rainbow Land here with us this year?
I know because you brought me into Rainbow Land. So can we tell our secret about how we met these lovely people?
Absolutely.
So a couple of weeks ago, called me and said, I'm going to Pride in Tulum with Black in Tulum. Come with me. And I said, okay. So a couple of days later, we got on a plane and we went to Tulum, Mexico, to this fabulous event that was hosted by our lovely guest today, Nubia, and I'm going to let her tell you all about herself. And we met this lovely, lovely Karina, and we couldn't think about not doing a show without them. And so we're talking pride and we're talking health and we're talking, rainbow. We had a rainbow table talk, and we met a lot of young people who we learned need some education on health.
Yeah.
And we saw the opportunity to educate, young women and talk to them about breast health and just health in general, because we see a void in their lives. And, we're all about, okay, how can we bring more people into our sandbox to talk about boobs and talk about health and talk about life and families and all those things. And we just see such an opportunity with this group. And so we met these lovely, lovely people, and we brought them on the show. Meantime, we did have a blast in Tulum, Mexico.
Oh,
We
this
can
is
talk
true.
about that later. But
And most of what happens in Mexico stays in Mexico, let's just say.
we're gonna leave it there.
But some really important things did come out of it. So yeah, we're going to start with Nubia. Black in Travel, Black in Tulum. I've been fangirling out, following for, I don't know, maybe 2 years now, 3 years, something like that, trying to get to Thailand, wherever she was and is going to be, to marry some health and some purpose and some wellness and some of the great energy that I try to bring with some of the amazing energy that she brings as an expat. And I would love for you to just talk about how you got to where you are and tell us your story.
Hey, ladies. Thank you for having me. Oh my gosh. Ricky, yes, Tulum was super fun. And it wouldn't have been what it was without you guys. So thank you so much for your presence. My name is Nubia Young, and I am a global expat. I have lived on 4 continents and have traveled to almost 50 countries over the last maybe 5 or 6 years. I also podcast, and now I am the founder and CEO of Black in Tulum, which is a community that I started in July of 2020 in Tulum, Mexico, at the height of the Black Lives Matter and the political unrest. And I mean, just everybody was losing their minds in 2020 with a lot that was going on. And I created a space where people can come over to Mexico, specifically Tulum, and just vibe with other people of color and feel welcomed, and really a well-needed respite, I would call it, a well-needed respite. And it has grown and flourished since then. And as a Black queer woman, I also wanted to, represent. So we actually did the first ever and hopefully first annual Pride in Tulum. So It was amazing. It was amazing. I would rather hear from you guys and tell me how your experience was, because on my end, as the curator or host, I'm working. So it's so hard to kind of, mirror everything and really get in touch with what people are needing. But from what I've seen and for the things that I've heard, for all the women that attended, it was much needed, much needed.
I want to go back. I want to do it again. So that's how I feel. If you really want to know something, we'll get some feedback. It was beyond fun, and just the environment that you created, Nubia, for people to feel free and feel open to talk. And we talked about everything till 2 a.m. most nights. And we really started the day with meditation from Dr. Mo. So we didn't, we were all up at whatever, 6:30, whatever, 7 a.m, doing a meditation, finding, breathing. You start the day breathing and feeling good and having affirmations about ourselves. And then we spent the day just hanging out and doing all kinds of activities, and ended the day, whatever. I won't even talk about that part of the day.
Yeah.
Overall,
it was balanced, right?
It was a balance. Mo, you brought a different level of starting our day and our mornings, right? I never even anticipated that many tears. Number one,
Right.
The amount of tears, the amount of hugs, the amount of laughter, the amount of love that was shared within those 3 days was absolutely just an abundance A, and it was just magical B for me to witness and to have been a part of. So thank you guys.
It was magical for me too. One of my mantras is, if you can't see it, you can't be it, right? And so to be there and to watch the sun come up over the jungle, and to really just take a deep breath and look around and put aside all of your self-consciousness, all your worries, all your doubts, all your fears, all the things, all the weight that we all carry, and really start to imagine what we want our lives to look like and how we can manifest those things. And it's not by working and doing it, it's just by being, just by the very breath. Like I wanted that for myself. So I did it for me too. I was very selfish about it, because I knew that I needed to come home with my cup more full so I can do the work that I do. But I wanted everybody else to experience that too. And then I was hoping we would all find some chosen family. And I love that we did, because, one of the things about being in this community is that, your born family, your given family isn't always what you would hope it would be sometimes in Black and queer spaces especially. But the chosen family, the people you get to surround yourself with, are what add a lot of richness, and we were able to form, just in those few days, we formed a bond and a family, and we talked about everything from sex and intimacy to anger to finances to breast health to being a caregiver to just everything. And I think it was so powerful for that reason. Karina, what was your thoughts? How was the weekend for you?
One, it was amazing. Nubia is my homegirl, that's like my feminine sister, right? And so we've been through a lot. So I know, everything she's done, everything she's been through, and nothing was easy for her. And to see her, come there, and I said, everything happens for a reason. She was like, I wasn't supposed to stay in Mexico this long. I was like, it's for a reason. And look at the reason. Yo, everybody, I don't care where I go, they be like, yo, I went to Black and Tulum. It was like, I was like, oh, wow, that's dope, man. I say, hey, that's my friend. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of people are talking about it, and she started. That's crazy, right? You just never know what your purpose is until you get out there, until God taps you on the shoulder and say, hey, supposed to be doing this, and it was dope. It was dope just to watch her in action, do her thing. It was amazing. I loved it. I got to go back.
Oh, we're all going back.
And you guys are all welcome.
Oh yeah, we're back. Yeah.
Nubia, how did you get pushed to the edge of your comfort zone to end up being an expat?
Oh, we should I was going to say, let Karina introduce herself. We didn't even let her introduce herself.
This is true.
Who are you?
Hi. Well, I'm Karina Fort. I'm actually a retired mechanical engineer, and I've been a comedian for the last 10 years, professionally. And I've been probably a life coach maybe about 5 years now. And it's been extraordinary. All the people that I've helped or watched them grow and all of this stuff. And then, it just keeps growing. You know what I mean? People just keep going. I actually deal, it's funny, I deal with a lot of kids. A lot of kids love me. I don't know why. I don't have children and, they're okay.
You one big ass kid. That's what you are.
No, right.
That's why. Okay, I got to stop her really quickly. I think what makes it very humbling for all of us is when we do our own self introductions, we tend to lose a lot of what it really is about us. So I would like to introduce Karina because, like Karina said, we've known each other for quite a number of years. And what I never hear her say is the fact that she took a leap of faith as well and gave up her 6-figure career in engineering to be a full-time comedian, which is something that she had a passion and purpose and period. And I think that's what I don't want people to overlook is that, we both took leaps of faith to do something that we were passionate about.
Yes.
Hello.
Yeah. That was beautiful.
That was beautiful. I want to talk about what drives you to that point, because I think that's something that resonates with cancer patients and our breasties especially, is that, life sometimes puts you in these really uncomfortable positions where it sometimes becomes more uncomfortable to stay than it does to grow and change and do the scary thing, right? The scary thing is not as scary as staying where you are. And so Nubia, talk about that a little bit in terms of how you even ended up being like when I think of who's the face for how to be a successful expat, and especially a Black woman, like how that all plays out and where do you go and how do you navigate, what do you do? I look to your blogs, I look to your podcasts, I look to your articles to get a sense of those things. And I guess tell us a little bit about the circumstances that finally got you there.
I appreciate that because I feel like Karina said, it wasn't easy and I've been through some straight up struggles. And also people don't realize I'm in my 40s. So I was at a different point in my life. I'm actually going to switch where I'm at because I'm outside on my terrace and I think somebody is doing a little construction. So I'm just going to move inside a little bit. But as I tell you the story, I just got to a point of being tired. I'm not going to lie. I'm a mother of 2 young adults. At the time I was 38, going into 38, and I got laid off from my job. And I was just like, I can't be tied down to this salary, to this title, you know what I'm saying? And feeling expendable. And I was just like over it. And when I say I was done, I was freaking done. Like, I think it just comes to a point that when you're tired and you're tired, not just talking about it. I mean, I was mentally, physically, emotionally, financially tired. I was like, I'm off this. I got to do something else. It has to be something else out here for me to do. And I thought I was just going to go to Thailand or to Asia for a little while and just kind of do my little eat, pray, love, like Black girl journey. And that turned to 6 years and I've been gone ever since. And I never looked back, and it was the most liberating experience that I've ever done. I had never stepped foot in Asia a day in my life until I bought that one-way ticket and was just like, and I literally left the States with the notion of whatever the universe has in store for me, I'm willing to accept it. Good, bad, or indifferent, and I'm going to learn from it. And that's what I did throughout the whole entire journey. And I took a lot of you guys with me because I would literally, I would go into, my social media, take pictures, I would write, I would cry, I would talk about it. I wasn't necessarily blogging or vlogging. I was just sharing with my Facebook community, like my friends and family, about how I was feeling and the things I was encountering. And that just continued to grow and grow and grow. And you guys got to see me go from hostels to hotel suites. And you know what I'm saying? Like from ground beef to Kobe beef, like literally.
I'm gonna need that on a t-shirt. Yep.
I'm saying it's my truth.
Black in Tulum.
It's my truth. And I've gone through this journey by myself as a single solo Black female traveler, even my bad dating experiences down to, what I mean? Everything I've shared very openly. So that's kind of how I got started into where I am today. I mean, I'm so much in between, but I can only say but so much in such a short amount of time. But that's how it started. I got tired. just tired.
Wow. And Karina, how about you? What pushed you into comedy of all things? Because I know, sometimes when you tell people your dreams, right, they try
Right.
to talk you out of them, and they'd be like, "Oh, you can't do this," or "Are you sure you want to do that?" Or, what is she crazy? Is she having a midlife crisis? Like, what's going on that makes you want to do some of the wild things, the wildest things that are put inside of us? How'd you get there?
I'll say this. That didn't happen to me. Yo, right out of high school, everybody thought I was gonna be a comedian. Right on I was like, what? I don't think you gotta be a special person, right? Because I got voted class clown. Another girl wanted it. I gave it to her because I said, if I have any kids, I don't want them to say their mama was a clown. And so I didn't take it, right? And then I got another one where it was like, yo, most unforgettable. I was like, oh, that's cool. I could do that. But another girl wanted it, and she needed it more than I did because I already know they wasn't gonna forget me. You know what I mean? Once you meet me, that's it. You know what I mean? And so what really brought me to this is like searching for spirituality. Like I went to the church first, you know what I mean? Getting closer to God. I felt like I needed to. Because I felt like, engineering was so, I don't know, exhausting. Like Nubia said, I was just tired. You know what I mean? I was tired of being subservient almost to these people and to dudes. I was like, what? Hello, I'm just as intelligent, if not more. You know what I'm saying? My work is impeccable. Are you kidding me? You know what I mean? I don't want to do this anymore. And I was like, God, there's got to be something else for me to do. And God was like, there is. Took a class, and I went, did my first show. I was nervous as heck, but it was surprising though. Me, you would think I would never be nervous, right? Because I talk to everybody. But I was nervous because I said, it's different being a rapper like when I was younger. And, they go with your beat, whatever you're saying. But actually saying something to make somebody laugh, that's different. So I got on that stage. Man, these 4 dudes came in. It was like around Yale. And they came in and I just thought of Onyx. And I was like, Onyx! And that was it. I was like, okay, I'm a comedian. This is it. I'm doing this. You know what I'm saying? So it got me excited, and I just did it, started doing it full time 10 years ago. I haven't looked back. So this is my 10th year, and I got something big planned. Y'all hear about it soon.
You know what I love? So I had to get breast cancer and be told I was going to die, that I had 2 years to live to be able to find my peace and live my dream. And I tell people all the time, don't let that happen. So you guys are such heroes because you found your peace and you found your dream without getting sick. Like, what a concept. But I meet so many breasties who, we become badasses after we're sick and told we're going to die or face death, which is crazy. But everybody should be able to find that space without getting sick. And you guys are heroes because you did that. And it takes a lot of confidence, and it takes a lot of trauma. You had other trauma, you didn't get sick, but you had other issues to deal with, right?
Too many.
Tired and made you want to make a change. But we all have to go through something, but it's, it's really about your mental health and your physical health too, to be able to say, I'm going to change from this to this and find peace. And that is just such a great thing to be able to do.
And that's what it is just that, Ricky. It's like you don't have to necessarily be faced with, an illness that they have a name for. Some of it, like for me, when I say I was tired, it was more of a mental thing for me. Like I knew if I stayed where I wasn't going to last long. Does that make sense? I was tapped out. And to be honest with you, when I left, I was physically going through a lot as well. I was diagnosed pre-diabetic. I was overweight. I was like depressed. I had a lot of stuff going on. And 6 months, maybe 8 months into my journey, I looked like a whole entirely different person. It was like I shedded a whole person. The light started to shine again. I felt so much better about myself. I was gaining a lot more just clarity about who I was and what I needed to do for myself. Like when I tell you it was meant for me to leave, like I had to leave. Sometimes changing environments can literally like just kickstart like a whole new beginning for you. And it doesn't necessarily have to be out of the country either. It could just be changing the toxic environment that you're currently in, meaning the people, the place, or the job, or whatever. Sometimes you just got to shed that shit in order to be, just at a better place for yourself, period.
Yeah, I call that getting all the cancers out of your life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There it is. Well, talk to all of us about healthcare in different countries and the philosophy surrounding healthcare in some of the places you've been, because I think that people are always curious about what their experience would be. And how do we view health and wellness in this country versus in other places? Because I've learned from you and from following you that it is really different.
It's extremely different. And I mean, just the access to fresh foods. Let's just be clear. I mean, I didn't do anything before I left the States. I was on like a keto diet, you know what I mean? High protein, low fat type of, well, no, keto's high fat. I was on a no carbs kind of diet, high protein, no carbs. And when I told my doctor I was moving to Asia, she was like, oh, you can eat all the rice and noodles you want. And I said, well, why now can I eat all the rice and noodles? And she said, it's because it's not processed the way it's processed in the United States. And as you see in this background, this is actually a picture of Bali when I lived in Bali and I came out of my hotel room and I was just like captured it, right? When you drive down the streets of Bali, they are literally in the rice fields, picking out rice and laying it on the ground to dry. That's the process. Fresh rice and noodles every day, fresh eggs, fresh everything. And what I realized is, and I hate to say this, but America's trying to kill y'all. Like literally, they keep you sick. And I know you're a doctor, Dr. Mo, and I get it, but they are keeping us sick in the States just so that healthcare can make some money in the pharmaceutical companies. Because when I lived in the States, I would open my medicine cabinet and there was medicines, right? I've been gone for 6 years. I have one prescription medicine, and that's for my thyroid before I left the States. I ain't never had a medicine closet or anything since I left the States. I've been the healthiest that I've ever been. And I'm not doing anything other than eating the foods and walking outside and just enjoying the sun. You know what I mean? I needed vitamin D in my life. I'm from Boston and it is so gray, cold, and wet. And it was not good for my mental health, So in regards to healthcare, I went to the doctors in Thailand and I had my annual visit. Can I tell you that they have annual visits based on your gender, your age, and then on top of that, they do everything that they can preventatively, meaning they did stool samples, urine samples, blood samples, everything that they needed to do to rule out anything that could potentially happen. Not just treat you because you're sick, right?
Wow.
Then I had a GYN visit. I had an ultrasound. I had all of this, $290 out of pocket.
Wow.
$290 out of pocket.
Wow. Well,
wow.
I'd like to say a lot of things in defense of American healthcare, but I don't think that I can. I think the evidence speaks for itself in a lot of ways. And I think that it shows that we really do need to focus more on prevention, more on wellness, more on learning to practice what we know and what we believe and learn to live off the land, learn that wellness is 360. It's not just taking a pill to treat a symptom that you have. I don't think that most of us who practice are in cahoots to design it that way, but I think it's all very much larger than we are, just like structural racism that makes a healthcare system racist against Black women. It's not actively us being racist against our patients. It's not us actively trying to kill our patients, but I think it's a system that is not entirely set up for wellness. So I don't disagree with you there. As far as the stool samples and all that, I wonder if it's because of parasites and all that sort of thing, and I think that even if it is, it's great to feel like your doctor is partnering with you and being proactive, even if it was a gimmick, to feel like, what, they're doing everything they can to make sure that I'm healthy and well. Like, who walks out of their doctor's office thinking that and saying that in this country? And I don't think enough of us do. you
And not
know?
even that, if you're in the doctor's office for longer than 3 hours, I believe they give you a lunch voucher, tell you and give you like a break because all of them are taking lunch. So they're like, listen, while we at lunch, you go eat lunch and we'll see you when you get
Hey,
back.
look at that. Wow.
The
Wow.
level of treatment. I went to the dentist today. Beautiful pearly whites, right? Got them taken care of, and it's $60 US out of pocket. And they
Wow.
took 3D X-rays. They took an impression. They did the cleaning and everything. And the doctor she was like, "Oh, you don't have any." You know, she gave me my whole little treatment plan and everything. It was like, "Keep doing what you're doing." And
Wow.
60.
$60.
Incredible.
That's
Incredible.
incredible. That's a
Karina,
copay out here.
Talk to me about your experiences coming up with doctors and healthcare and what you knew and understood about preventive health. Like, what did you learn coming up? And even as an adult?
Well, I think part of it is, in our community, we hide a lot of stuff. Like my grandmother hid that she had cancer for forever until it was like late. You can't do anything. I'm not getting cut open because it's just going to spread. You know what I'm saying? That was her mentality. So it was just like, why wouldn't you say anything? Like, why couldn't you, you could have probably beat this or whatever, And my grandma was just like, if it's my time, it's my time. You know what I mean? And so like learning preventative stuff, I don't even know if my mother was good at that. You know what I mean? Not no disrespect to her. It's just that I think she was uninformed about a lot of things. Like some of the stuff she didn't tell me, I actually learned from other girls in school. Girl, you put it on like this, you do this. I'm like, oh, okay. You know what I'm saying? Or sometimes if I stayed over my aunt's house, she had daughters, so she would spend a little more time where they would say whatever. I didn't really learn anything about preventative maintenance on a woman until I got really older. I was like 21. I was still going to my pediatrician. He was like, Karina, I'm sorry.
It's time to go.
I was like, hey, me and this little boy, we the same height. He said, it doesn't matter. He said, you're 21. I'm going to have to. He said, I know it's hard. He said, but it's time. I already went over the time because I've known you since you were a baby. Dr. Howard, he was my dude, man. I didn't want to go to nobody else. And he was a big white man, you know what I'm saying, with big hands. He was like, find you a nice one that you like and all of this. And he was giving me information on this stuff. So I started to learn slowly. Shoot, I don't think I was like well into my 30s before I really knew about, certain maintenances. You know what I'm saying? My mother just gave me what she knew and that's it. And so now that she's older and she has issues, here I am reading up on stuff. I'm not a doctor, but I'm like, hold on, wait a minute. Before you take this, let's get a second opinion. Because I feel like a lot of them don't, a lot of the doctors feel like Black people specifically have a higher tolerance for pain. White people, we don't. I'm just telling you, white people, we don't have a higher, it's the same. If she hurting over there, you know what I'm saying? We're hurting over here. Miss Johnson is hurting too. She needs the same exact medication. So the treatment seems to be different because they feel as though we have a higher pain tolerance or we're on drugs. And I'm saying like, what? That like doesn't make sense. So I'm learning every day and then seeing you guys I learned something too, because being a quote unquote stud, we don't do breast exams. We do one of these, like, all right, I'm good, And that's it. That's it.
Well, that was the beauty of the conversations that we had during the Pride is that when it was posed, when the question was posed to how many of us actually do breast exams, majority of the room was just like, nah. And
all but one of our about 20.
Well, that's why I said majority of the room,
Yeah.
I mean, it was crazy that, here we are in our 30s and our 40s and had never truly been taught how to do it correctly. You go to the doctor for your annual and they put you on the bed and they have you put your hand behind you and they do it as they're talking to you, but they're not telling you or teaching you or explaining to you what you should be feeling for, you know.
Right.
It wasn't until Dr. Mo explained a little bit more about breast tissue and densities and
Yeah, it was
things
dope.
like that. And I was just like, well, damn, like, how are you supposed to know what's your normal, right? Not
Yeah.
the normal, but your normal.
Feel it.
And, you know, I have friends that are in their late 30s that have had breast cancer already and had mastectomies. I have friends that never made it to 50 and passed away of cancer related illnesses and things. And it's just sad that we're not educated enough on our own physical health and
I
what
agree.
is considered normal for you.
So how do we reach a younger generation? Because I'm seeing patients younger and younger, 30s, 20s, you know, with breast cancer. I mean, you just barely started using them. You might not have children yet. You might not even be thinking about, you know, your mortality in that way, or, you know, feeling for a lump. But what can we do to reach especially a young Black queer generation, right? Because we know that when we get disease, we get it worse. We have, you know, different outcomes. We get differential care, especially if you're masculine presenting, you know, you're a so-called stud or whatever. You know, there's a lot of stigmas against us. So how can we reach young people?
Dr. Mo, I wish, you know, the whole time, ever since our Rainbow Table Talk, I've actually had a lot of thought about this. And I still need to learn more about cancer in itself, right?
Right.
Because, you know, after Ricky had explained what kind of cancer she had, and it went into this like triple negative, and it was just all of this information was just like, and it was just so like thrown at us that I was like, whoa, can we start from the beginning? Like, you know, and because because cancer is such I think we're all still learning it, right? Because it seems like it's always something new. And now I'm being told like, it doesn't matter if you have a family history. Before, that was the question. Is there any history of cancer in your family? If so, now, okay, you have a better chance of getting cancer because your grandparent or your aunt or your uncle had cancer. Now it's like, you don't need to have hereditary, you know, genes.
Right. You don't.
Anybody is susceptible to catching cancer, but why? How?
Yeah.
How do you prevent it? You can't.
Yeah.
Okay, well, what do you do to, like, all of those things are questions that I still have. And I don't know where to begin, to be honest with you, because it just seems like so much. And it's not just breast health, right? I had a girlfriend who died of cancer of the stomach at 36. You know what I mean? Just like,
Right.
there's so many different cancers, and it's just, how do we prevent it? I don't know. I wish I had the answer.
So maybe we start talking sooner about, one, what is cancer? Two, you know, how do you screen for it? And like maybe just start having some more dialogue around it with people who have influence, with people who have younger folks tuning in. Because I mean, it's not just younger folks, but I feel like that's where we can intervene, you know, and start to educate. Because, you know, those of us who are in our 40s and beyond, you know, we're catching up, right? We're like, okay, let me catch up and see what this thing is, because I never knew this. But like we can start a younger generation doing more screening and being more proactive. So, you know, I don't know what it's going to take, but I'm willing to do what I can. You know, and it starts with having amazing platforms like yours. I mean, when you think about Black in Travel, how many thousands of followers and people do you get to interact with virtually and in person? You know, because how many people, Black in Travel, how many people now?
I started with 23. I got 16.4 thousand.
Come on.
Wow.
And that's just on one platform, not on all of them. But no, literally the conversation about what is, I think, you know, the big C needs to be discussed. I think more and more people were faced with mortality during the pandemic.
COVID, right.
You know, that true cliche, you know, life is short. People were like, yeah, life is short. Until they started seeing and knowing people who actually passed away like that. Had a cough one day and was gone the next. People were like, oh, damn, like,
right.
mortality, you know? Right. And we don't have those discussions enough about our own mortality. Even if, I mean, I feel like I'm the healthiest I've ever been, but my kids know something happened to me. This is my these are my instructions and this is what I want you. I don't want to ever leave anybody that I love without instructions, right? On
Right.
what will happen in my demise, especially considering I'm in a whole nother country, you know? So I
Right.
think those discussions
Wow.
need to be had more within circles of family, friendships, and even, you know, I mean, we were all strangers at one point, and now look at us. We have this bond that we created over a course of a few
Yeah.
days, you know. And Ricky's an ally in all of this, and everybody just gravitated to her. You know what I mean? With this, her sharing her story and being so transparent and showing us her scars and really sharing like just her journey with everything. It resonated with us, even though we didn't have cancer. We resonated with the fact of needing to cut out toxicities out of our lives. And that story right there was like the biggest, you know. And if I had to think about anything, it's about how do we cure these stressors that we allow ourselves to continue to go through for no fucking reason. Excuse my language.
Mhm. It's okay.
It's okay.
It's all good.
It's all
Yeah.
good. I know but it's so interesting because to me, when I was with these young people, I wondered if they talk to their moms about this stuff. And we know that the moms are not talking to their kids, whatever, you know, whatever, most Black households. But where can we start these conversations? Like we actually have 7 HBCU interns working with us. And roll over, and they're amazing, but they come in knowing nothing about health, not talking to their parents. And the one thing we ask them to do is go interview your mom, make a video with your mom or with your auntie or some other person, some matriarch in your family, to talk about what's her story. And it's a really hard thing for them to do. And they come back, and because they're doing this conversation with their mom for the first time. So, and I'm wondering if that's even harder in the queer community, because they leave home at earlier ages and they don't have that connection with their moms. And so, you know, that's like the first stop. Where do you go first when you have a question? To your mom. But if you can't do that, who do you go to? How do you have that conversation about your family's health? So, you know, because you can't, you have to know her story. But, and then that's like where you start. But then you got to realize that even, you know, for breast cancer, only about 5% of it is hereditary.
Right.
So although your mom didn't have it, does not help you, right?
That part. But what happens when you have a young Black son and you want to talk to him about prostate cancer? And
How about it?
You know what I mean? Because there's so much more to health and wellness. You know, yes, breast health is extremely important, and even men have breast cancer. Don't they get breast cancer?
Oh yeah.
Yes, they do, and it is
They do.
increasing. It's on the rise. So hashtag check your chest. Yes.
Yeah, and they're dying. They have a 66% higher mortality rate than white men.
Black
It's
men.
crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I mean,
Not only that, after gender affirming surgery, right?
Right.
So you still have to do breast exams. You still have to check that chest, even after, you know,
Right.
after surgery, after bottom surgery, right?
Mhm.
You still have a prostate. So
Right.
we still need to be talking about the effects of hormones, the effects of the food that we eat and the life that we live on our risk for cancer in the trans community as well. And so those are all conversations that are really difficult that we're not having, you know,
Yeah.
with our community.
That worries me so much. That worries
in general about just being different. Because to be honest with you, when I came out, I was 21 and my mother said to me, it'll be a phase, right? Little did she ever tell me that my father's sister is gay, that my grandmother's best friend was gay. I didn't know he was gay until he passed away. And they were like, you didn't know he was gay? No, I didn't know he was. Like, my thing was, I was surrounded by people that could have actually been there for me. You get what I'm saying? And people kept them from me. For what reason?
Yep.
I wasn't alone in this. I had people and didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
That's some sad shit. Like, all these conversations need to be had. And the sad part is that those conversations typically don't happen in Black households.
And not in Black communities.
No.
We don't talk about nothing.
Nada.
We don't talk about nothing. Mental illness. We don't talk about sex. We don't talk
money.
about anything.
We'll talk about finances or health.
No, we don't.
None of that. None of that. We don't talk about any of those things. So that's why we're by the wayside. Like, I think that it's cool that you guys got young, college students actually in there. But I think you need to go a little lower. I think you need to go to the high school kids And there's some that are, what do you want to be, doctors, this, that, and the other, you get them, right? And those people are doing those little tickety-tock joints. And so that right there will get people, it could go viral. You understand what I'm saying? But it's talking about something, and they're talking about something. And a lot of them are like poets, this, that, and the other. They're super creative. And you get them on there and you give them internships and watch them roll. It's going to be a little different. And then also they talk, one thing about the younger generation, that young, they all in this together. I don't care if they black, white, Spanish, gay, not, they don't care. You know what I'm saying? Like when we went to school, they cared. You know what I mean? But they don't care. You know what I'm saying? And so those kids, if you get them to do something like that, now you're getting somebody to listen, because, I know this is gonna sound crazy, but I'm gonna say it anyway. We on something somewhat ignorant. We kind of like ignorance. It's like either a fight or tickety tock or anything like that. We don't like somebody actually giving a lecture. We want it to be fun. So that's the key to actually delivering the message. Kind of make it interesting, because I know it's very it's a very serious thing. However, if you add humor to certain things, people will remember it. You know what I'm saying? That's just my little thinking 2 cents.
So what I hear you saying then is, that we're gonna be doing some tickety talks and talking about some health and wellness. You gonna add the humor. I'll do the medical side.
All right.
You add the comedy side, and we're gonna put this thing together and do some tickety talks and start talking to some folks. Is that what I hear you volunteering for?
Wait, y'all know she old when she calls it tickety talk.
Well, you know what though? One of our interns actually did do a TikTok video of a self-exam, and it went viral. She got huge numbers. So that is, we have, and Monique and I, we have to be relevant. We have to be relevant. We have to be relevant. How do we do it in a way?
I was this close to asking Dr. Mo to show us how to do it.
You could have, absolutely.
Like, you don't want to be like, why is sex so taboo, or why is touching your breast or your body so taboo in this state?
Yeah.
Because like, especially if you're a stud, that ain't, that's like a dude always grabbing his Johnson. You know what I'm saying? Like, why you, son? Why you, like, yo, what's wrong with you? Okay. You know what I'm saying? You're looking at each other like, come on, son. You better get a girl immediately, because this is not a good look.
Well, I made everybody feel my tumor. Men, women, I didn't really care, because I wanted my people to feel what it felt like. Like I was so happy to show everybody my tumor, but I made everybody feel it, because I wanted even the men that I know to know how to identify it in a woman that they're dealing with. I say everybody has a pair of breasts that you love. We got to check them, and check the breasts that you love, right? But we do have to be more open-minded, and we do have to be more vocal, and we do have to look at different ways to reach our audience, because the women that we met on that catamaran, I just looking around saying, God bless them. I hope they're taking care of themselves. I hope, and as much energy and passion they have for life, I want them to live.
Yeah.
Right.
And whenever I'm in a circle of women, I say, okay, 1 in 8 of these women is going to get breast cancer.
Yep.
On top of it, going to the doctors with your partners. I don't know if you guys watched The Chi. The Chi is okay, good, right? So if you notice that, and on one of the episodes, the older woman is with her lover, and he touched her breast and said, like, babe, what's this lump? And she's like, she dismisses it like, oh, that's always been there. And he's like, please get it checked. Like, she was like, all right, I'll do it for you. And she got it checked, and it ended up being breast cancer. So it's one of those things where even feeling like you're in a safe space enough to talk to your partner about something that you see that they might not have seen, even something as simple as a mole that maybe you noticed at one point now looks different. Another, babe, this mole that was here looks a little different. You know what I mean? Know your body, know your partner's body, like being able to have those conversations. And that's the sad part, is people are so afraid to share and be vulnerable.
Yeah. That is it entirely. It's the lack of willingness to be vulnerable, even with yourself, right? Because if you can't be honest and vulnerable with anybody else, like I can't tell you the number of women I see. They'll come to see me, they'll have a breast lump, they're scared to death. and I say, okay, this is probably this is what we got to do. No, I'm too busy for that. I don't have time. I can't, I have to go take care of my kids. I got to get to the church. I got to do it. And they don't want to even sit with it with themselves. Right. And they say, well, what happens if I do nothing? So we talk about what's going to happen. They say, okay, well, I'll see you. I'll get around to it eventually. And they come back and it's worse than it was before. Like, you got to sit and be honest with yourself about it too, because it's the hardest thing to do in your life, right? To face your own health, to face your own mortality, to face the things you don't know. Right. But we have to look that fear in the face, and we have to know that we're stronger than all of that. And we're not going to come undone. And that, what, cancer, it might be a thing that has us, but we don't have that. We have it, but it doesn't have us. Right. And that we can turn that into something greater. And I think one of the lessons that I love about all of you is the fact that you've taken, the things in your life, and you've used it as motivation. You've turned that lemonade into limoncello. You've turned that shit into fertilizer. You take that test, turn it into testimony. Like, that's the story of life, right? No matter what you got.
I love me some damn limoncello, girl.
Hey, why not? Absolutely. And I think we got to teach that translatability, that thing that's in y'all, that spark, that gleam that y'all got is what everybody needs to get it. No matter whether they got cancer or no cancer, health, wellness, death, illness, all of it is take that thing and make it count. And if we do nothing else in this world, that's the message. That's the message we leave behind. So
well, these conversations are going to run extremely deep, because I had a conversation with a girlfriend who's in her 30s and just went through a mastectomy. She had both her breasts removed. And what I didn't understand until after talking to her, and I'm so just completely and utterly blessed that she had opened up enough to me about her journey with breast cancer, is the fact that I didn't realize the financial implications. Like, I was like, what? Like, whoa, like, who the hell one day can be told you got breast cancer, go through this journey physically with your body, and still have to deal with the stresses of the financial implications of having to have a double mastectomy and having to go through radiations and chemos and treatments and ports and this, that, and the other. And I was just like, whoa, like, we don't even think about how that can just totally mess up your mental health, on top of, like, you need to be in a space when you're healing your body that you're not stressing about.
Exactly.
These are my $500,000 big boobs. Okay. They're bigger than the ones that tried to kill me, but that's how much they cost. Wow. And thank God I had insurance.
That's what I'm talking about.
But a lot of people are struggling with that. So you guys, Mo and I work really hard to kind of change the game. Like I know God left me here to do this work, and Mo,
I'm here for it.
Yeah, we're here for it. So we're always trying to figure out, why aren't things working the way they should be? And we're trying to challenge the status quo. Like, you have to think differently. You have to think about things differently and talk about things differently, because right now the medical system is broken. The way we even deal with cancer is broken. The recruiting for clinical trials is broken, and we want to just fix everything. So, but we got to start with somewhere, and we got to start with education. Education. It really starts with education. It really starts with what's in your head. What do you know? Who told you what? Where'd the message come from? And so that's why you guys can be such credible voices in the community, to talk to people and use your platforms to educate. And we're happy to help you do that. But we had to just keep, hitting the hammer, and like keep talking.
Well, you guys were the start of the jump off of the Black in Travel wellness initiative. I already had this conversation. So we already know this is happening over here.
Where are we going next? Let's go.
It's already happening over here.
All across the globe, baby, everywhere.
We're ready.
It's definitely conversations that need to be had, but let's definitely start from the basics, because I'm a student as much as I'm a teacher. And
Me too.
I can't talk about something that I don't know nothing about. So I need y'all to tell me as I'm sharing that information to the masses. You know what I'm saying? Like, it starts with you guys. Like, I have to say, Ricky, I mean, you're freaking dope. Like,
she's awesome. She's badass, right?
And I was like, yes, girl, that just made me go, like, here's mine. You know what I mean? Like, you show me yours, I'll show you mine, And that's that freedom, though. It made me feel so like free and like I could be me no matter. I didn't know Ricky from a hole in the wall, but I just was like titty swinging, like, yeah, girl. Okay, let's keep talking about breast health. I had no reservation because she made me feel so welcome. And we ain't even gonna talk about Dr. Mo and her.
Right.
Woo!
Your message
Yeah, that's it.
is
Girl
fire.
crush. It's a girl crush, right? It's a
Oh,
girl.
I've had a girl crush
All
on
around.
What?
I mean, anybody
Me
can see
too.
how beautiful she is. Look at her.
Me too.
I love y'all. I love
know,
this is
no,
such a,
no, when
such
you
a love
Karina,
fest.
don't make me mute you.
I know. Mo, when you weren't in the room, all I could hear was woo, girl crush all around. I didn't tell you
Right back at you, baby. Right back at you. I love you
You-
guys.
You're very passionate about what you do, and you're very passionate about sharing the information. So you captivate a room when you're speaking, and I want you to know that people are listening. You know what I mean? So
Yep.
know that the work that you do, and every time your voice is being heard.
Definitely.
Love you, Mom.
Thank you. Thank you. I love you guys. More to come on this, right?
More to come, many more conversations to have, and you know, we love you guys. We thank you for, you know,
Yeah.
everything that you're doing, and let's do more of it. And Karina, we're definitely gonna make a video.
Oh yeah.
Let's make a
Totally.
video.
My first tickety talk. I'm doing it with you.
Tickety talk.
There it is.
That's
So
what I
with
call
more
it.
rainbow
Tickety
table
talk.
talks.
But I like saying
And-
tickety talk.
How can people reach you?
Yeah. How can people reach you?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm actually on all the social media platforms. On Facebook, I'm Karina Fort. On Instagram, I'm Karina Fort, KRINAFORT, and the number 1. And I have a website. I'm known as the laughtertherapist.com. Hit me up. I got you.
I love it. The laughter therapist. And Nubia, we're waiting for you to tell us when we're going somewhere next. So
Listen, it's gonna happen. We're gonna have to have a women's wellness week. That's what we need to have. A women's.
okay, let's do it. Let's do it.
Right, I'm putting it out there. We haven't even started curating
There
it, but
it
we're
is.
gonna curate it.
Yeah, we got a
And
lot of
let's
breasties that need this conversation.
That's right.
Let's
I'm
have
doing
these
the study thing
conversations.
too.
And
Yeah.
I'm going to ask your audience to send in questions to you guys that
Yeah.
topics that they really want to know more about, so that we can have
Absolutely.
the right people there, because I think that's the most important, right?
Right.
Mhm.
Not just having people, but having the right people there
Right
to
people.
share the right information. So
Absolutely.
Right.
let's get this popping. But you can
Let's do it.
You can find me at blackandtulum.com, and that's Black BLACKIN Tulum TULUM.com. And you can find us on all platforms from there, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, YouTube, and also my personal is I am Nubia Young. So I look forward to having many more discussions about our physical, mental well-being, our financial well-being, our overall well-being. So thank you, ladies, for having me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Thank you for
much.
having me too. I appreciate you, ladies.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you so
so
much.
much. Thank you so
Um,
much.
Thank you to our sponsors. Thank
Yeah.
you to Ricky for being open to all of this and for being receptive to God and to the universe for answering the call, because you didn't have to come down. You know, we could have just did our thing in Tulum and you could have been none the wiser right on your beach on your paddleboard. And you said, nope. You said, let me come down there and see what's going on and see what I can do and see where I can fit, where I can help, where I can share this message. So I love you for that.
I love you.
And for the work that we have yet to do, especially in this community that
Yes.
that so often gets
Much
overlooked,
work to
our
do in
people.
the community, and we got to do it. We have no choice.
Well, it is our work and it's our joy. So we hope this has
That's
been
it, yeah.
relatable and reliable and real, is what we set out to do every single Wednesday night here on blackdoctor.org, which we're thankful for this platform. And the doctor is in.
The doctor is in,
Boom.
and I'm gonna tell
Breasty
you,
love.
breasty love.
There it is. Karina, you got to do the love. You got to do the heart. Come on.
Breasty
Do
love.
it. Do it.
He's holding the phone
That's
with
one
one
side.
hand.
Hold on, here's the other side.
There it is. I got
All
you.
right.
See
Thank you guys.
Next Wednesday
so
night.
much.
Peace.
Wednesday, bye.
All right, you guys, later.
Peace.